The drinking itself, pretty much in majority cases, will be the afterwards. It will be the something which I'm doing to cover something. Like some people trying to drink because they're relaxing. Some people are drinking because they had some problems in the past in their lives, or maybe they've been involved in something and they're trying to forget something. Or maybe you're drinking because you're searching for validation. So let's say you are with some people which they drinking, so you're drinking with them because you want to be like, the part of the brotherhood. And all these things are showing you that the drinking itself is only the outcome of the problem, but it's not the problem itself. Specifically on the beginning, it's not the problem. But later on, when things are actually gone, when all the dust is actually nicely settled down, the drinking, it becomes something which is actually evolving on its own. Because if I take all these problems away from me, then in that perspective, the drinking stays because that drinking actually developed through the time when you've been trying to escape, relax, validate, and so on and so on, and actually is settling down like his own root. So it's like you kind of are planting something without even knowing that you did it. Because on the beginning, that's supposed to help me, if we can call it that way. But later on, it becomes this load, this burden, this kind of a trouble thing, which actually keeps me attached to something which I don't want to really be part of it. But because it stayed with me for so long, I don't know how to deal with this. And then we have something like, okay, the other problems might be away from you. It's just because you come into the point that, with aging, with becoming older and having, or being like the person who gets more experience and, just like getting to know things, start understanding the things. Maybe you get to the point that you forgave something, or you're forgiving something, or you're forgiving yourself for whatever happened, and you just kind of start understanding them things better. And on the beginning, when the drinking's supposed to be something which is supposed to give you a kind of a ease in that time, in that moment, in a situation, later everything settled down, but for some reason the drinking stayed. Oh boy, and it stayed very much. So that drinking evolving becomes a separate thing, because now I do have only the drinking going on. You maybe you forgot all the problems, maybe you already solved the problems, all that stuff is pretty much gone. But because you've been doing natural, organic, homegrown, kind of a addictive way of dealing with stuff and perspective of becoming an alcoholic, because you didn't see that. When on the beginning is a different story, because it's just a little amount of drinking there and there, and the timing doesn't look too bad from perspective of drinking if you look on it right now, when probably you have a situation that you drink every day, or maybe weekend is for sure, and then you try to kind of escape into that realm, into that land of drinking, let's say Tuesday or Thursday, and then it's just it's not too far away from the weekend, so you kind of are surviving. It's just because it comes to the point where you are so attached to it that this actually became the part of your life. It became a habit. But you need to understand as well that you did not become like very addictive or become an addicted over the night. It doesn't work that way. You just like process through the process of doing it, or expanding on having more and more, having a bigger tolerance on it, and then this is kind of a going to the wrong place. You're not comfortable with it anymore. You actually fighting with it. Trouble is, the more you fight, the more it's coming back. From the technical point, you might not be it's just like a person who was kind of going through the similarities like other people, because it's like this: we all the same, but we different, right? With a drinking, pretty much something causes you drink, then you are hangover, then you get into the point that you're fighting that hangover, and probably even on the same day you're back on the drinking, or maybe a couple days later when you start feeling a bit better, then you're going back to it. This is kind of a this is exactly how addiction works. You just can't do it without it, or so far you're thinking you can do it without it, just because you've done your homegrown bit. That plant is there. It's called alcohol, addiction, and you are very attached to it. This is attached to you, so it kind of fulfill your life for a very long time. And now you're trying to, cut them bushes, but the problem is, the more you cut it, they keep growing back. So without understanding when is the problem and how I can fix that problem, this is kind of a looking like a constant, and the fight you just cannot win. Another thing is as well, if you are another person who's actually struggling through any hard time life situations, or it might be another thing as well. Why this is like a plant, because that was planted within you. It might be the case when your parents been drinking, so within your family there was a drinking, so you start drinking naturally, because it's like this: if you have the family of drinkers, and let's say they are drinking over the Christmas time period, just an example, then you thinking that this is a natural thing. So when you later getting to know your partner in life and you create relationship, and let's say the first time you're spending Christmas over, the other folks, and then let's say they never been drinking for the Christmas time. They don't do it. It's not the kind of a thing within their family, and is a custom within your family, because that's the things are around your household. Then everything feels strange. And it's gonna be exactly the same in the other direction when someone doesn't have any alcohol use within the Christmas time because they don't drink. And believe me, there are houses like that people don't drink. They just celebrate, and they can celebrate without drinking. And then you coming over, and wow, what do you mean? This is odd. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, we don't drink on Christmas. They drink on Christmas. So this is like crush of the reality. These all circumstances around you, some kind of a provide you in a certain patterns of ways or things, people you've met, places you've been, and that is actually somehow creating your reality. So you think what's right, what's kind of odd, what's wrong. But in this perspective, there is no such thing like right and wrong. It's just like you grew up in a place when people been doing certain things, and some people growing up in the places that things like that don't happen. On top of that, we have another situation like, not everyone who's not drinking will be drinking, or someone who's drinking will be drinking, because all them things are changing, and they only changing if you kind of are given the speed, you're given the momentum, what do you want to do or you don't want to do. But when you're coming down to the point when you are already addicted to alcohol, all these things are not that easy, because now you have to shift things through, and that takes time. If it took you some time to get to the point when you are doing something, now you will have to probably spend exactly the same time just to twist and shake things around and make it to the place when the new way of doing things will be your new reality, when it's actually going to be imprinted within you. So it's going to become like a natural. So again, we're going down to the point where you're actually creating a new habit, and it's a different habit, and that habit is going to be definitely different to the one you had so far. But all that stuff takes time, and understanding where you are and why the things are happening. I like to compare this and going towards like thinking about you as a two kind of a way person individual. So you have that morning person and you have that evening person. Now, the more and longer you're going with alcohol, it comes to the point like, let's say it was Friday, you came from work, you had some, because you always have some on the Friday, and then let's say that you overdone it. So on Saturday, you're waking up, whatever the time is, and you feel hangover and you have that guilt that again you did it. I mean, you had the plans for the day, you wanted to crack on some stuff, makes things happen, but you couldn't do it just because you obviously, instead of being the good boy, a good girl, you come up to the idea that you've probably done some late sitting, or it was maybe not a late sitting, but you've done like short fuse in terms of that you drank a lot of stuff in very short period of time. Unfortunately, later it happens like that because you're looking for that kind of a knocking down effect in perspective of being done. So in some cases, people are blacking out or not blacking out, but eventually you have too much, and on the next day you're waking up, and that morning person has all these regrets of the actions they did it. Now you have to fight with your hangover. Some days it's going easy, so it wears off very quickly. Some days you have to put some effort actually to get yourself back on the track. But then at some point, when you start feeling better on the same day, the second personality starts kicking in. That evening person. The morning person was saying that, no, we're not doing this again. This is like crazy. I'm not feeling comfortable. I put myself again to this position. I'm going headaches. I mean, I might be throwing up. I might be this. I might be that. But then that afternoon person is the person which actually is pretty much being on the side when the recovery it's working well right now. So okay, on the morning, well, we felt very much bad and we couldn't do much. Even probably if you smell some alcohol, you automatically had like a "Woof," no good feelings, and smell is not right, taste is not right. Assessing the damage, coming up on into the fridge, see how much I've drank, or maybe if you've been outside, you look into your money portfolio, you look how much you spent, how much you wasted. Do I have all the documents with me? Do I have the money? I did not lose my debit or credit card, and so on and so on. But the evening person is completely different. The afternoon person is just like, all right, we look okay. Well, it's Saturday. I'm not going to work tomorrow because it's Sunday, right? So, technically speaking, I could do some. But then, well, let's make sure we're not gonna do what we've done, the night before. And that never happens that way. It is always happening so bad that on Sunday the story repeats. But now it's different because we had to get back to, the routine because Monday is work. So, probably again going through the same drill on Sunday when you wake up. On the evening Sunday, of course, I can do few. I mean, I'll feel a little bit better, right? Which is not a true because again, from the point when you got yourself out of the poison, you poison yourself again because you're again drinking. And technically speaking, Monday looks as usual, very tired, very bad. But this is exactly how this circle works. Them two personalities are fighting each other, and it's always like the one which wins most, it depends on the situation where it is. So if it's on the morning, I feel bad, I'm not doing it, I got regrets, guilt, and so on and so on. Then when it comes to the point when it's afternoon, I feel so better, so maybe I can do it. So maybe there's a trick this, trick that. And then we going back on Monday to work, totally wasted, tired, exhausted. Technically speaking, we don't want to even look at alcohol, but by the Tuesday, you're already back on it, right? So this is exactly how that two-way of personality works. The only thing with a reason for drinking the alcohol and then being, just staying only on alcohol later, is just because of your biomechanics of your body. The trouble is you're not mentally, you know, kind of attached to the alcohol anymore. It's just more about from the side of your body because you got used to it to something when you're drinking, whatever that is. If it's a lager, it's a vodka, if it's, people kind of saying as well that they have their favorite drink in terms of favorite type of liquor. But the truth is, you having nothing else but a kind of attachment to your body. So this addiction, it's kind of evolving, and now it's more about you having a withdrawals because your brain, your body, your anything reactions, your psychic, anything cannot actually function normally, because you created a situation that, the alcohol itself, it becomes like a second skin. It becomes like your bread, it becomes like your air, it becomes like your meal. So it has to be there. Otherwise, you're gonna start panicking. And this is the case where, when people are pretty much in the stages where they so much, not even mentally but physically addicted to the alcohol, because you will become physically addicted to it. It could be the cases when the people trying to cut on alcohol, they ended up with some seizures, they ended up with any other bad way, kind of a withdrawals, and that will be recommended right now. So before you do any attempts, to be fair, you will have to actually, in a very clever way, will be to see some kind of a medical advice and maybe consultation before you even try to do anything, because you don't know how your body will react, right? Some people can just drop alcohol after 20 years of drinking and no problem, but it could be like, other person will do exactly the same, who will have exactly the same history of using alcohol, but then they will become like, in a very bad way, and they might even end up in a hospital for some kind of a detoxifications, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to name it. So the kind of a smart approach is actually understanding the mechanism, understanding what could happen to you, and trying to protect yourself as much as you can before you try to go on typical cold turkey, which we know that could be very difficult, not only from the side when you try to not the drink, for itself, but the thing is, you don't know how your body will react to it, because mentally you might be strong, but then something's gonna start happening to you and you don't have a full over control. You don't know how to react. And for the first one, you don't actually know what's happening exactly, because you're not a doctor, you're not a specialist. So there is a smart way of kind of a preparing yourself to it. Psychic yourself as well, it will work in it, because you don't want to do something anymore. But the trouble is, you don't know how your body will react. So this is the vital key, watching yourself, see what you're doing, and actually choose the best way, which will help you to stay on the path you've chosen. And in that perspective would be something like, I don't want to do alcohol anymore, but unfortunately, after so many years of using it, there could be something going wrong. And it's rather, better to be prepared for something rather than do some actions, do some moves, and then really regret that later. Because, in terms of, if you're like the person who lives by himself, you know, or by herself, or you've got nobody to look over you or check up on you, then that could be very difficult. And that, really, really, it's not a joke. I mean, you can imagine if so many years you spent getting, used to it, to the substances, and now suddenly you try to cut it off. It's a very difficult combining way of your physical and psychological effects and everything which is involved in it. Where to start when you attacking anything? You're supposed to get one. I would suggest to get as much knowledge as you can from any people providing you with anything. We do have something like everyone is different in terms of, okay, something might work, something might not work, but it's nice to know everything you possibly can gather as a information of what could happen to you. It's not being 100% granted that you will have it, because some people might, I don't know, someone decides that he's cutting the alcohol and has a withdrawal effect, someone it doesn't, or maybe, someone's got some headaches. Let's say you're going to be the situation that you're not going to have nothing for the 3 months, and then something starts happening 3 months later. It could be like that. We don't know. I mean, the thing is, everybody, abilities to heal, learn are different, and similarities, yes, there will be something similar. You might have this, you might have that, but then in some kind of a vital keys or vital places of your recovery, things might change or might look different, or you might never actually, so I wouldn't be even worried too much about what could happen, could not happen. It's just more about gathering information, what is possible, right? With the key momentum understanding, not everything might happen to you because you don't know. Okay. And the second thing is gathering informations from any place you can, which is great, but then seeing some specialist or having even just, going to the doctors, for instance, your first contact doctor, GP, whatever you want to call it, depends on the country or the place where you live, and how, all these medical systems are working within your country. You still can see someone, talk to someone, and even if they cannot provide you with some kind of a, decent information, maybe there is a chance, and in plenty places there is a, huge chance that they will just, kind of lead you somewhere or give you the trace for the next place who you're supposed to seek, or, an advice. And then, you definitely go in from there, you speak to them people. The only thing I would suggest, and I strongly suggest, is be honest, be 100% honest, especially if you're gonna talk to some specialist. These people would like to help you, and they would like to provide you with any possible, information whatsoever. I know that there is a case that you might feel kind of embarrassed, but this is nothing to be embarrassed. The more embarrassment, I will keep with embarrassment in the moment when you have a problem and you don't want to do nothing with it. Okay? You should be proud of in the moment when you go in somewhere, you establish some problem, you acknowledge there is something you would like to do about it, because you see that you can't live anymore like that, and you're going to see someone to seek help. That is something to be proud of. And not many people have enough guts to do that, right? It's just because they feeling, embarrassed, guilt, whatever the feelings are actually connected to it. It's okay. You're a human. It's a human being to do stuff, but it's as well the human being to jump on another level and get yourself healthy and get yourself right. So I will definitely remember about the most important part. These are not easy things, and I get that. And I get that. That's not easy stuff to go to talk to someone, especially if you're the person who's not like, much spreading any information or sharing with something. But when you actually approaching them people and you being dead honest, then they can provide you with the best informations and the best tactics, or any things you probably not even heard about, or did not even take in consideration that something like that can help you, or maybe there's something you should watch out, because you might be doing something on your own and that could be actually not a good idea, and it's not gonna be, it's gonna be like definitely counterproductive for you. So instead of that, that's why you see the people, they know something about it, they've been interested in with that, they spend some time to know something, to get the new knowledge, and you can always count for them, because that's actually what they're doing. They're doing that for, let's say, maybe some of them they're doing for their living. I know you might be visiting someone who's not going to be charging you for something, but still, it's still worth it to go, to speak, to get some informations, because all you want to do is get better, right? You want to stop this madness, and that's what you want to do. So remember, be honest. Be honest. Yeah, feelings are feelings. We feel this way, we feel that way, but technically speaking, trying to survive, and you helping yourself, and you try to save yourself, and that is the factor number one, the key. Is supposed to be your kind of a benchmark in that perspective. I always like to say there is no right and wrong, okay? Because um, you might be listening about the stories about the people, what they tell you what you're supposed to do or how they've done it. The only one thing I always remember, you're trying things and you see what is working for you, what is not working for you, and then based on that, you coming up with some kind of a plan. Trying things, fair enough, of course, if they're reasonable things, you're trying them, you see if it's working or not. And one of the things which might help you is keep yourself some kind of a journal, some kind of a diary or something. Write it down, information, see how you felt about when you've been doing something, or what kind of an outcome it was on the next day, or if it's getting you to the point where you're gonna be there, or are you actually reaching your goal. And another thing as well is, do not do not ever think that suddenly you're gonna be jumping kind of a 10 miles ahead or something like that, because that journey, when you decide that you want to stop and you continue doing it, this is like a journey for run. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint. There's no such thing that you're gonna get somewhere quickly and you're gonna be safe. That's another thing as well, what people are kind of mistaken. They're thinking, I don't drink a year, I don't drink 2 years, I don't drink 5 years, 10 years, and I'm okay right now. It's it's nothing wrong is gonna happen to me. We don't know that. We don't know this. Let's just concentrate on them small steps. What you want to achieve? I want to achieve one thing. I don't want to drink. That's what I'm concentrating on, and that's the only thing I want to see. But not over psychic yourself as well in perspective that it's like you do everything so I don't drink. I'm not gonna be thinking about drinking. No, the thing is, once you're gonna be away from alcohol itself, then naturally you will pick up later that you're not gonna have an interest with it. But the thing is, you need to first understand the basics. You need to first understanding where you are, who you are, how you react. I mean, what causes what to you. Second thing is as well, many people forget about one thing, that don't be hard on yourself. There's no point with that. You just like take it easy. You get in step after step, day after day, month after month. That's how you're building. This is where you are. And you gotta be aware of something. First of all, once you're gonna stop drinking, you're gonna start relearning yourself how to live in again. But because now you're gonna be the person who doesn't drink, so you need to learn how to live without drinking. Okay, so you're gonna be like that toddler, like that person who never actually done nothing, because this is like a fresh territory for you. The first time when you touched alcohol, maybe you've been a very young person, you don't remember pretty much how it was, or maybe just like little memory about how it was when you did not drink. But the only one thing I can tell you this: when you show up on this planet Earth, the first thing, it wasn't alcohol. That's not what your parents been given to you. That's something where you picked up later on the way. Okay? So our natural state is to be sober. As a creatures, we operate in a sobriety kind of a realm, in a sobriety habitat. Look on the children, look on the people around you if you have a chance to see, especially youngsters, like they operate, kids with a 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, 10 years, you look at them. They don't drink coffee, they don't smoke cigarettes, they don't drink, and definitely they don't drink alcohol. And look how much energy sits in them. So this is something which you can look on it as well, just to give you the perspective that others did it as well. You've got other people, they got sober, they got clean, they don't drink anymore, they provide their lives, they still living. Their life did not finish, they just start something new, something beautiful. Maybe you've got a situation like, if you think from perspective, if I continue drinking as I'm drinking right now, maybe I'm gonna have maybe another 5, 10 years of life. What if I'm gonna stop drinking right now and I will provide myself with another 40, 50, 60? Who knows? Nobody knows. But definitely your chances are higher when you're without. So yeah, that is something. If you looked back all the things you've done and things you regret of doing it, don't be too hard on yourself. Just concentrate on that new journey. Just concentrate on that what you would like to achieve. That's supposed to be your first goal. Concentrate on what you want to be. Don't concentrate too much on what you don't want to be. Okay? You don't need to psych yourself too much. Just stay on that path, on that goal you would like to be, where you would like to be. And it doesn't matter how long it's going to take you, because that is still another one of the factors. There's no such thing like right or wrong. I mean, some people getting it longer to get somewhere, some people getting, faster to get somewhere. But at the end of the day, the most important fact is, if you're going to stop drinking, that's what you want, right? So I'm hoping this video was crucially beneficial for you. If you're interested with more, you know what to do. And then I shall see you in the next one. See you later.